Hello everyone, it's Benny, and welcome back to Building a Minecraft Calculator. In this video, we will be entering the final stage of construction, where we will be doing everything we need to create a 7-segment display output for our calculator. So, the very first step in doing this is converting our binary numbers to a type of number called binary coded decimal. And all this really means is it means taking the binary number and dividing them into smaller binary numbers so that no single binary number is greater than 10. So, for example, if I had 16 in binary, converting that to binary coded decimal will give me two binary numbers, the binary number 1 and the binary number 6. If I had the number 225 and I converted that to binary coded decimal, it would give me three binary numbers. It would give me 2, it would give me another 2, and it would give me the number 5. And that just makes it a really nice, easy system for displaying it with a 7-segment display. So, let's go ahead and do that. First off, what we're going to do is we're going to build the binary coded decimal converter. It will convert binary numbers to binary coded decimal. And as you may notice, I'm not at the calculator right now. I'm in this big open area. And the reason for this is this thing is going to be somewhat large, and I would prefer to do it by sort of building it out in the open and then using World Edit to move it in place. If you're not using World Edit, or you would prefer to build it where it's finally going to be, then you may wish to hold off on building this until I actually go to where I'm going to build it and move it into place. So, with that all out of the way, let's just go ahead and start on the binary coded decimal converter. So how do we convert a binary number to binary coded decimal? Well, as it turns out, there's already a famous mathematician who has pretty much solved that problem for us. He invented some famous algorithm that does exactly that. And it's called the dabble algorithm. And here's how it works. First off, you will take whatever binary number you have. So, for sake of example, let's say I have 31, which is 11111 in binary, so 5 ones. So I have 31, and I want to convert that to binary coded decimal, which would be just 3 and 2. So, the dabble algorithm says, first off, you'll want to shift the number to the left by however many binary digits you have. So in this case, 31 is 5 ones, so that's 5 binary digits. So, I will shift it left 5 times. Now, that's the first part. The second part of the dabble algorithm is where it's a little bit weird. What you do is you divide... This is sort of weird, but just sort of go with me. For your final output, you'll divide all of the binary digits into 4-bit segments. And the reason is, in the final output, every binary coded decimal number will be in 4 bits. And, of course, the reason for that is 9 is the biggest number in binary coded decimal, and 9 requires 4 bits in binary. So, you will divide all of the final binary digits into 4-bit segments. And every time you shift left, you will also check in each of these each of these 4-bit segments, you will check to see if the number in that 4-bit segment is greater than the number 4. If it is, then what you do is you add 3 to it, and then you left shift. So I know it's a little bit weird, but if you do that, that's all the dabble algorithm is. And that will convert a binary number to a binary coded decimal number. And we're going to build a machine that essentially just implements that algorithm. So let's get started. So, first off, when I talked about how that algorithm works, I mentioned that there's going to be addition. So I'm going to start this by just building an adder, and we'll see where we go from there. So, I'm going to build an adder like every other adder we've built in this series, which is just not a random torch in the middle of a giant plane, but an XOR gate, so like this. And I'm assuming everyone knows about XOR gates by this point. And there. And again, this is just the same design we've always used. And the carry is going to be coming in from that side, so I'm going to move the output over here. And then I build the second XOR gate. And that completes, or almost completes anyways, the adder. Now, the only thing is, I noticed that when I completed this, and this is just me from experience, you probably wouldn't know this if you were building this on your own, you will need to take this torch and move it to the side. It won't affect the functionality. Actually, I'm going to double check that to make sure I didn't get the torches mixed up, so one sec. And I was right, I was just being paranoid, so yeah. And the reason is that just causes a slight conflict if I have the torch there when I'm doing the left shift. So I'm just gonna do it like that. And there. Oh, I completely forgot about the carry. So, and the final step to building an adder is doing the carry wire. Which, I'm doing backwards, aren't I? Yes, I'm doing it backwards. Oh boy, okay. So, there. Almost. There. This is a full adder, pretty much the same design we've always been using, only difference is a torch right there. And now, since we said we're going to divide everything into 4-bit segments, I am going to be using world edit to just copy this and stack it 4 times. So, that needs bottom, so expand 1 down, expand 1, and actually I should put this here so that the carries connect. I'm just going to stack it 3 times, because that will give us 4 total adders. Stack 3, there. Alright everyone, so I accidentally hit the stop record button, so I just did a whole bunch of work and just realized, oh hey, I wasn't recording any of that, so yeah. I undid everything to the best of my ability, but if you see a block that wasn't there before, or if a piece of redstone's missing or something, that wasn't done by Satan, I'm just redoing it. So, anyways, back to where we were in the video. We just created the 4 adders. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to create inputs to them. We do have an input A and input B in these, but we only really need to use one of them. And the reason for this is we're only sending a single number into all of these adders. So, since we're only sending in one number, we only need one input. Makes sense. But the important thing here is that it doesn't really matter which input we're using because of that. So I'm going to be doing them in a little bit weirdly. I'm going to do the first input here, so 1 is going to be on this side, 2 is going to be on this side, 3 is going to be on this side, and 4 is going to be on this side. And there. And this, it doesn't matter too much how you do these. I've just found that I find it easier to do the whole system if you arrange the inputs like this. So I'm just going to do them like that. And now, even though we only have one input, we still need to add something to this number. And that number is 3. So the easy way of adding a 3 to this, just putting redstone right here. If I power this lever, you notice since this power is going into both the 1 and the 2, this is adding 3. So 0 plus 3 is 3. Simple enough. If I just quickly test 5, okay, I've got 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. Exactly. Okay. So, there. Now, what did I just destroy? Oh. Sorry, nature. I know you hate me so much, but anyways. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to test if, for somehow, one of the... I shouldn't say it like that, actually. That sounds confused. That's a confusing way of explaining it. All we have to do is we have to take all these inputs, and we have to send them to a second wire. And that wire is going to be below. So I'm going to do this by creating a repeater mechanism, like this. And this way, if I send power to this wire, it also sends power to that wire. And that's what I want. So I need to do this for every input. And the reason I need the input in a second location is because this is where I'm going to test if the number is greater than 4, as the algorithm specified. And unfortunately, since I did the inputs like this, I can't really world edit it in, so I have to do it all by hand. Yeah, I know, it sucks, but oh well. Okay, so there. Now I have my input in 2 places. And now we have to figure out what case is something greater than 4. The way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to do this sort of a brute force way, because I really think a conditional unit is overkill for this application. So, if you think about it, there's really only 3 cases where a number can be greater than 4. The first case is, of course, if I'm getting an 8. If I'm getting an 8, then no matter what the rest of the numbers is, it's going to be greater than 4. Now, if I'm getting a 4, that by itself is not greater than 4. But if I'm getting anything along with it, so if I'm getting 4 and 2, or 4 and 1, then that will be greater than 4. So those are the 2 conditions I'm going to be testing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build an AND gate right here. So this is 4 going into the first input of the AND gate. This is 2 going into the second input. And there's the output, which I'm probably going to change later, but just there's the control wire is going to be part of the AND gate. And now 2 isn't the only thing that can make 4 greater than 4. 1 can also make 4 greater than 4, so I'm also going to plug 1 into this AND gate. And this way, if I'm getting 4 and either 1 or 2, then and only then will I be getting a number greater than 4. Now, the other case is if I'm getting 8. So if I'm getting 8, then I'm just going to send 8 into both inputs of the AND gate. There you go. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Please forgive me. If we're getting 8, then that will automatically just be higher. So, yeah. Now, the only issue is how are we going to get the input. This is always, at least I found, this is always the tricky part of building these, connecting the 8 into the other end of the AND gate. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like this, and I'm just going to send the 8 around like this. This is the way I found it works, but really, as long as you have something that gets the output and doesn't conflict, you're good. So that's the first step. Now the only other thing I have to do is I have to hook this up to this wire right here without falling down or connecting it to any other wires. And this runs us into this problem. These wires will cross. So to solve this, I'm just going to make this wire go down a bit. And you could call it a waste, but it's the easiest way to do it. And I personally, I don't really think that vertical space is going to matter that much. So now I'm just going to send the wire down. And there. Now the one issue to this is now this wire right here, it's not going to be powering them if I connect them up like this. So there's one last thing I'm going to do. And that is, I'm just going to move this torch, because really okay, that doesn't work. But really, there's no reason why I couldn't be able to do like this, and just send this down. So, I thought I was going to be clever and do it, but then I'd forgotten about that, so I'm just going to stick with the original design. So now this wire right here is technically still part of the AND gate. What that means is I can do this. And now, this should add 3 to whatever number I pass in, and only if it's greater than 4. So I'm just going to quickly add some levers and test that. So first off, I'm just going to pass in 1. That should not do anything. Yeah, it should just pass it straight through. I'm going to do 2. Also should not do anything. Okay. 3. Doesn't do anything. Good. And 4. Does not do anything. Now, 5, that adds 3 to it. Good. 6 adds 3. 7 adds 3. Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, and yeah, basically, it works. Okay, good. So that's the first part. Now, really, the only thing left to completing this algorithm is implementing left shifting. And believe it or not, that's the easy part of this. Now, but the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just break this right here. And I'll explain that when we get to it, but it's actually, we can't have this carrying out to anything. So, now left shifting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of mirror where my outputs are going to be. I'm going to give me one block to do the actual, I'm sorry, I should not be recording this as late as I am, so my mind's not working right, but these are where my outputs are going to be, assuming I have one behind it, which would make sense since I'll have to do this essentially once per bit. So, right here, that's a 1, excuse me, that's not a 1, but this is the output, so I'm just going to mirror the output here. I'm going to give myself one block of space to build a left shifting mechanism. So, essentially this is just imitating where this is going to be if I stacked this. That's all that block is there. It's just for reference. And now that I have reference, I can start left shifting. So, first off, this output needs to go over there. Now the way I'm going to do this, to start off, is I'm just going to go like this. Most straightforward way, but that gives me a bit of an issue when I'm trying to move this one over. So, I'm actually going to go down. And this should give me space to also shift this one. And it does. Good. Whoops. Don't place block there. And that is left shifted that over left one. And now this one needs to be shifted over one. That's also not that difficult. Just need a block there to block that off. No pun intended. And I'll actually put a block there so that it doesn't conflict. And lastly, I'll need to set this up so that it will connect to there, assuming that I had another one. And this also means that I'll need to move this up one so that that doesn't conflict. And yeah, there we go. This should be shifting every single number left. And that's good. That's what we want. So this, in effect, is completed one component of our binary coded decimal decoder. So now we just need to set this up for our specific number, which should be the easiest part of this whole thing. So first off, I'm just going to select this whole thing in World Edit, and hope that I actually did everything right. Because this thing is notoriously easy to screw up. So, and this should be position 2. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure I have everything selected properly. Okay, I'm going to contract 2. That should bring that in. I'm going to contract 1 down because I don't need that. And I'm going to also expand 1 down. That would encapsulate that. And that should be encapsulating the whole thing. And again, the reason I'm not incorporating these is because they're essentially that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stack 1 just to make sure that it actually is tiling correctly and there's no error. And it is, and as you can see, if I had moved these torches around a bit, it would actually, in this case, would mostly work. I only needed essentially this one, but in most cases, these torches on the side will cause problems. In this one it does, and the rest it doesn't, but it's better to be safe. And, okay, so that works. Now how do we expand this out to incorporate the number of bits we need? Well, first off, you remember that we need one of these 4-bit segments for each final binary coded decimal digit. So essentially the number of decimal digits as far as we are concerned. So I'm going to need to stack it this way by the number of decimal digits. The biggest number our calculator can produce is 225. So that's 3 digits. So I'm going to stack it 2 times since we already have 1. So stack 2. And notice the carryouts between the 4-bit segments aren't connecting. That's good, we want that. Now I believe if I expand this by 32, it will encapsulate everything. So expand 32, and that looks like it captured everything. Okay. So now we need to stack it this way, and I can actually break these blocks down. I stack it this way. Well, yeah, remember, this is where we're doing the left shift. So in theory, we're stacking it this way by the number of binary digits. But because of the way we designed this, we can actually save 2 of those left shifts. So I'm actually going to just take one out. So it'll be the number of binary digits minus 2, and then minus 1 more because we already have one built. So 225 requires 8 binary digits. So this is going to require 5, because 8 minus 2 minus 1 is 5. So stack 5. And that right there should be an entire binary coded decimal decoder. I don't think that's more than I needed, but I'm going to err on the side of caution just in case. So now, in terms of setting up the output, first off, we're going to put 1 digit right here. This will be our 1s digit, and the reason we are doing this is because we can shift the entire thing left once before we even pass it in, because we're never going to run into an issue where we're going to need the adder on the very first left shift. So right here we can do a left shift before we even pass it in. Now we're just going to divide up the output, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to divide them into sections of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And this last digit right here should never be used. So these are our 4 binary coded decimal numbers. And now we just need to label everything, essentially. So this is the 1 input. This is where we input 2, and I'm just going to put the sign here. This is 2. This is no rain. 4. This is 8. This is 16, and of course this is just following standard binary pattern. This is 32, and this is 64. So, I actually think I did make one more than I needed, but the idea is I could do a 128 here, just because of the way the whole system works. It's sort of a shortcut. And I may even be able to do 256 here, even though we'll never get that. So let's test it. Let's try decoding some number. I'm going to start with the number 15. So 8, 4, 2, and 1. That's 15 in binary. And for my output, here I have 0, 1, 0, 1. That's 5. And here I have 1. So it successfully decoded the 15. Okay, easy enough. Now let's try something a little bit bigger. Let's try 225, the maximum number our calculator can output. So 32, 64, and 128. And if I go to the end, we should be getting... There's a 5 again. There is not a 2, and there is not a 2. Okay, so something somewhere is going wrong. And I have a suspicion of what it might be. And yes. What the issue is for some odd reason, these are not connecting. I forgot to do that when I was stacking. So, save myself the pain of trying to do everything again, I'm just going to go through this one in. I'm going to connect these up. And then I'm just going to stack it again. Stack 5. And that should not have destroyed all my levers and signs. And now it should be working. So, no. Okay, so something went wrong. Let me just find what I did wrong, because I'm pretty sure I did something really stupid. And the issue was because I didn't actually stack it correctly. I stacked it correctly, I built the correction in the wrong place. So that should be there. And that should be there. And that should be there. And now, if I stack it, once again, the correction should now be in place, and it should now be working. So there's a 5, and I need the pillars to designate the space again. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, and 2. So 2, 2, 5. It's working. Okay, good. So, now that we know it actually works, I want to test to see if the 256 one works, because I don't... If it does, then I can actually back this off one more. So I'm going to add 256 to this, and I'm going to see if that does anything. So 256 plus 225 is 407... Wait, yeah, no, yes, 478. That's what it should be. Assuming this works. I don't know if it actually works, but it might. So, 478 is... I think that's right. Here I'm getting 1, 5... You know, let's just put in 225 by itself. Because I don't trust my math there. Okay. Actually, I can do 128 plus 256, because that should be 384. 384, is it? That's 4. That is 6. That's 0. Okay, so that final one does not work. Okay. So I did stack it the correct number of times. I'm just being paranoid again. I'm always paranoid around this machine for some reason. But 128 by itself should work. 8, 2, 1. Okay, good. So we've completed the first part. We have a binary coded decimal decoder. Or binary to binary coded decimal decoder. So now I'm just going to stack it. Or not stack it, but I'm going to copy it. Going to expand. Actually, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I shall expand by 50 blocks. And that should encapsulate the entire machine. And it does, excellent. Except that one, but... it's easy enough to implement myself. So, I now have the entire thing selected, and now I'm just going to... I'm going to copy it, and I'm just going to place it where I want it. The question is, where do I copy it from? Oh, I'll just do it from... Actually, I didn't know there was a problem with this right now. But it's not a big deal. But anyways, I'll just copy it from right here. And there. So now we can move over back to the calculator and actually add this and start building a 7-segment display. Alright, so we're back at the calculator. Now we need to actually build the 7-segment display. So, I was originally going to do it here, but there's just not nearly enough room in this area. But that's okay, because I actually need this room for something else now. So, I'm just going to try building the display back this way a little bit. So I'm just going to start with what's theoretically going to be the middle digit here. and I'm just going to work from there. So first I'm going to build the digit, and then I'll just sort of move it into place. That's the way I'm going to do it. So again, if you're not using World Edit, you may wish to wait until we have this whole thing set up the way it should be. So, okay, so that looks, I'm just going to see how that looks. Yeah, it's a little off-center. So, I'm going to move it over by 1, and just going to see how that looks. Even though it's going to look really weird now, it's as close to the center as I'm going to be happy with, so I'm going to leave it like this. And now we have our first digit. So, the display itself is pretty easy. You just need torches, and it does need to be this big, unfortunately. You can try making it smaller, but it generally doesn't work out that well. So, and there. This will just be our temporary digit. And here I'm just going to do. And okay, that's all the way from over there. Not exactly what I was going for, but oh well, I'll take it. And just fill. Oh. There. Don't even know my own commands. Actually, that's one too close, isn't it? Whatever. I'll fix it in 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to save that giant thing so that I wouldn't lose it. And again, I'm gonna do this. And now, I'm just going to temporarily disable the whole thing. So, easy enough. And this is all temporary, so I can put the wall in front of it. And there. Now just cut and paste. And that should also delete all the blocks in front of the pistons, but not as big of a deal. And again, no fancy redstone going on here. This is just basic display. Basic pistons, basic torches. Things most of you should be pretty familiar with by this time. And there. Okay, there's our first part of our display. Alright everyone, I'm back. I took a quick break because I was getting tired of recording, but now I'm back and we're continuing to build our 7-segment display. So, now we have all this set up. Now what we want to do is we want to have one wire that controls each segment. So, the way we're going to do this is, first I'm going to start on the side, because they're going to be the trickiest. I'm going to put repeaters like this, not pistons. There needs no need for pistons here. And I'm going to put a repeater right here. And I'm just going to hook all of these together, and that's what's going to allow me to control the 7-segment display. So, what I'm going to do is this, and that right there. I now have a single wire that can control that entire segment. So if I flip this lever, right here, this segment should retract. And it does. So, excellent. Now we just need to do that for all the sides. So, there's one there, and there, and there. Yep. So, it's exactly the same thing, except we get to do it 4 more times. Hooray! So exciting! Ah, yeah, I love doing things just so needlessly and repetitively. Especially when World Edit can't help you out. That just makes my day. But enough of me sarcastically complaining. I don't know what all that was about. I'm just gonna keep building. Yep. Oh, nope. Do not destroy the rest of the calculator. That's actually a good tip right there. If you're ever building a calculator, if you have any intent on completing it, it's really a bad idea to just randomly start destroying parts of it. Doesn't help very much. But I'm almost done, so I don't have to just talk about randomness. See, that's the thing that really sucks about these. You never really have much time to say anything useful, because they're just long enough to be tedious, but not long enough for you to have time to say something useful, so, I don't know. And we now have a way of controlling all the sides. So, there. Now only the 3 middle segments are displayed, so controlling these is actually pretty easy as well. Or excuse me, actually a lot easier, I should say. Just do like this. That's 1. And 2. And 3. And now we have a way of controlling all of those. So, excellent. There we go, that's controlling all of those. The only last thing I'm going to do before we actually build the decoder for the 7-segment display, what's actually going to determine, oh, we're getting this number, that means we need to display it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to organize these wires so that I have 2 layers. The bottom 3 wires are going to be on the bottom layer, and the top 3 wires are going to be on the top layer. So, first off, I'm going to break all these levers, because I don't need them. And I'm actually going to double check my reference just to make sure I'm doing this right, because I know I've screwed this up a couple of times building on my own. I don't want to give bad information, so please excuse me for a moment. Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to double check that I would organize them correctly. So first off, I'm going to break all these, because these are pretty much all going to be different from one another. Okay, thought I accidentally broke a wire. So there, okay. I'm going to start with the middle. This is where the top layer is going to be. Then I'm going to have this one on the side, and this one on the other side. And this is really just the way the decoder is set up. It could, in theory, be done almost any way you can imagine, but this is just the way the specific decoder I'm going to be using requires the inputs to be set up. So, there. Those are the 4 top ones being controlled right there. And now the bottom ones are set up similarly, except there's this, this, and this. And that should be the entire bottom row set up. Now the only thing I have left to do is I need to put them all with torches. And the reason I need torches is because if the power is going into the wire, that retracts the piston. So that's the way I want to. This thing is useless and needs to get out of my way. Go away, stupid piece of redstone. That's the one thing I don't like about redstone devices. They're stupidly hard to destroy. Okay, that should get him out of the way. And last one. Okay, excellent. We now have a top controller row and a bottom controller row. And that's exactly what we want for the time being. Alright, so the next step, we'd need to build a decoder mechanism. And I think this thing is still in my way. Well, there, that thing can go away. There. Leave. I do not like you. Okay, so decoder mechanism starts simply with some wires. These will be the output wires. These are going to actually control the 7-segment display. I'm just going to start with... I'll start with 6 long wires, and I'll go 7 long, just to be safe. I'll expand it out from there. So that's just a starting point. And again, 1, 2, lag, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And same thing all the way down the line, pretty much. Did I just place a block in some random location? Yes, I did. Don't place blocks in random locations, kids. It doesn't end well. So, now that I have all these wires that I'm going to be decoding to, I need wires that are actually going to control them. So I'm going to place a redstone wire right here. I'm going to have some redstone on the side, and this is going to be powering this wire. And when I actually get to building the decoder mechanism, I'll just place torches above which ones I'm going to want for whatever number the decoder segment is going to be representing. It's essentially going to be this style of decoding, except for 7-second displays rather than for binary. Okay, so next thing is I need that right there, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think I might be doing this one too low. In fact, I am doing this one too low. Please excuse me for being ignorant. So, now, that's that done. And that's one wire complete. So these are going to be the two decoder wires. All we really need now is a way of actually controlling them. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to just have repeaters. And this will just be part of the decoding process, but for now they're just going to be repeaters. I'm going to have redstone wire on top. And above each of these will be a torch. And these top wires right here, these are going to be the actual input. This is going to be the actual number we input into this insane decoding mechanism. And I'm just going to expand the wire out a little because I'm going to intend to world edit it a little bit, just to save myself some time. And there. So, this is going to pretty much be the basis for this whole system. Except, yeah, this is the only thing I forgot is they should have blocks right here. And that's just for stacking, because when I stack it, that will prevent this wire from crossing with this one from behind. Because when I stack it, there will be this wire right here. This will just make sure they don't cross. And now, of course, we actually have to stack it. So, I'm just going to right here, I'm going to do position 1. Right here, I believe. Position 2, I'm going to double check that before I actually stack, because I don't want to do it wrong. I actually have screwed this up. Of course. All of these repeaters need to be moved over one. I'm sorry, that's my fault, but they need to be moved over one. I was just being ignorant, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't thinking, but yeah. And the reason for that is, otherwise when I place torches on these, then there'll be a block right here, and that would be part of the next one. I don't want to conflict any of the inputs, so I'm going to move these up. I'm also going to have to move all these wires over now, of course. So I'm sorry, I did not intend to do this. I don't think it's big enough of an error to justify being redone, so I'm just going to fix it. And I guess the only thing left to do is this. And yeah, just do that for every wire. And we should have one decoding section. And I'll sort of explain what this is doing when we get into actually decoding, but trust me, this is going to work. And now we need to stack it. There's 10 numbers this can display, so I will need 10 of these. So I'm going to stack 9 because we already have 1. And that completes one decoding section for our 7-second display. Now we have to do the actual decoding, and this is going to be the tedious part. Other than actually adding repeaters, I didn't do that yet. So yeah, we do need repeaters. And there's repeaters. And then after that we have the really tedious part, which is just adding the decoding segments. That's not fun. Not decoding segments, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean the actual decoding. That is not a fun part. And yeah. Almost there. Wait, does this even actually reach? I really hope those are reaching, because I don't want to redo this. Yes, they are. Excellent. So we should be displaying just a square. And we are. Excellent. Nope. Rain, go away. I don't like you. You're making me lag. Okay. Now, last one. Right here. And, okay. Now we have repeaters on everything. So all of our information is guaranteed to reach. Now we just need to set up the actual decoder. So, right now, I need to do something with these repeaters. Because the way this is set up right now is if this torch is sending power into this wire. When this wire turns off right here, that is what's going to be the actual saying, okay, this right here is active, we are displaying this. So this right here, the very end, needs to be 0. When I have a repeater here, that will send power to it if we don't have something there. So that's essentially being a 1. So that's testing if we have a 1 in that space. If I place a torch, that's going to test if the wire right here is off. So that's essentially being a 0. So all I need to do is add a bunch of torches, and now we are getting that. So for 0, I need to display everything except the middle one. So I'm going to place everything here, because I want all the bottom segments. And here, what do I want for... Well, why is this getting power? Oh, I didn't break a torch. Well, I will need to power that anyways, but left needs power. Right one needs power. Now, one of these doesn't. I believe this one's the top one? Or is that the middle? No, that's the middle one. This is the top one. The middle one is the only one that should not be powered in 0. So that should be giving me 0. And it is, excellent. So our 7-segment display is at least partially working. Now, for 1, we have to do the exact same process, except in this case, all of these are going to be 0. And the only ones we want active are this one and this one, I believe. And yes, that gets us... Actually, I want one on the other side. So I'm just going to put one on the other side and decrease my speed. Nope, there. And yeah, we are going to have to do this for pretty much every single number we can display. But on the plus side, we're already 20% done, so it's not that much, it's just a little bit tedious. So, we tested 1, now we have 2. We want 2 to be this one. Excuse me, this one. So, I'm just gonna... That's also a nice trick. If you put in the number, all the repeaters that are off are the ones you want to keep, and all the repeaters that are on are ones you want to change to torches. So now 2. 2, I believe, has the entire bottom row except that one. Or, actually has 5. So 2 is going to be like this. And I will need the top one. I will need the middle one. But I believe I need this one. And I might have those two reversed. I might actually be displaying 5. Oh no, I'm actually displaying an inverted 3. That's how good I am. So this torch actually needs to be on this side. And one of the cool things about this is you can get it to display anything you want. If you want this to not display 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, if you want to display some weird alien symbols or something, you can do that as well. It's whatever you really want. I'm just displaying numbers because I figure that's what most people are going to want to display. So, let me change these to torches. And now number 3. Okay, 3 is essentially what I had, except on that side, I believe. So, this could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is right. What? Ah, so close. Oh, I just placed the torch on the wrong way. And now we have 3. Yes! Okay, victory. Now we need, other than 3, we need 4. And then we'll be almost halfway done, actually. So, 4, right, which is this one, okay. That one needs to stay on, everything else needs to be torches. Whoops, nope. Stay. And there. So that's 4. Now I need to actually decide what I want to display. What do I display for 4? Okay. Well, I need this one on the bottom. And, oh, actually I'll need to do these on the very bottom row backwards, because it's crossing the repeater. But that should mean that I'm halfway done, actually. So after this, I'm halfway done. Because I've done 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So yeah, I'll be halfway done after this. That's the bottom one. Now I need that little scoop, so that will require everything except the top one, which again needs to be done backwards. So this, and this, I believe, actually that's the top one, isn't it? Yep. This and this, and this. It needs to be backwards just because otherwise it'd be over up here. I hope this is number 4. It's the number 4. We are halfway done. So now, 5 is this. And which one is 5? We've done 4 and 5. Okay. This one needs to be a torch. And this one needs to be a torch. And 5, where is 5? Okay. So what does 5 look like? What does the bottom half of 5 look like? It's the exact opposite of 2, so I'm just going to cheat and look at 2 and just do the opposite. Oh, I actually really don't need to cheat because it's just this. And that should give me everything except... I do need the top one, I do need the middle one, but the question is which side one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. That actually might give me a really weird looking thingy. It gives me 2! This is how good I am. Okay, where is 5? Aha, there you are. Okay. So I just need to switch these 2 around. Hey, you could really confuse some people like that. You could display 2 instead of 5, and they'll be like, wait, why is that 2? But no. There's 5. We're now 60% done. Wait, no. Are we? Yeah, we're 60% done. So, now 6. We're moving on. That's 5. That's 5. This will be 6. There. That should give me 6. And now we need to actually put the torches on again. So, 6 has everything on the bottom, I believe, and the middle one. So, and then I believe it goes like the top like that. I believe. I'm not sure if this is correct. It's backwards. Of course. Everything is backwards. I know, we're actually getting really close to the end. But we're almost there. 6. Excellent. We don't have that many more to go. 7. It's the next one down the line. Yep. It just requires this. Wait, what? Wait, what? Is that really right? Oh yeah, it is. Okay, I'm just giving things backwards in my mind for some reason. So 7, what does the number 7 look like? Okay, there's definitely the top one. There's 2 on the side. It's actually an easy one. Yay, we've got 7. Alright, almost there. Almost there. So now we're on to 8. This is the second to last one. We're almost done. That is... Do I have an extra one? Oh, no, I don't. Wait, what? So, okay, all these need to be torches. And there. So now 8 is everything. We're so close we can actually hear the pistons now. And there. That should give us 8. Yes. And lastly, but most certainly not leastly, we need 9. So, oh, I forgot to put it in. Because we shouldn't be... Did I just place a torch randomly? Yes, I did. Don't place random torches. They're bad for your health. 10. Alright, last one. Not 10, 9. What am I talking about? Okay. I'm actually going to do this subtractively, so I'm just going to turn everything on. And... Now, what does 9 not have that 8 has? It doesn't have that bottom left one. So that should give me 9. Yes, it does. Our 7-segment display system, or our 7-segment display decoder, is complete.